On our 7th wedding anniversary, my husband's little secretary sent me their hotel room video. I forwarded the video to my husband along with a message asking him to come sign the divorce papers. 1 minute later, the secretary called me in tears. "Madam, it was all my fault for sending it to you by mistake. Please don't be angry with President Hayes. I promise I won't interfere with your family." On the other end of the phone, Landon Hayes wiped away her tears with a pained heart. After soothing her gently for a long time, he finally left me with an impatient remark, "Now that you're pregnant, who else would want you besides me?" When June Foster sent me the video, I was at the hospital for a prenatal checkup. The doctor looked at the report and said to me helplessly, "The baby is in a slightly abnormal position. If possible, it's better to have the surgery to terminate the pregnancy as soon as you can." I nodded woodenly. The pause button on my phone still displaying the intimate scene of my husband with another woman. The doctor sighed regretfully. "These days, it's really not easy for women. Even prenatal checkups have to be done alone." I smiled bitterly. Yeah, even though he knew I was pregnant. Landon was still sleeping with another woman. Faced with such provocation, I could only swallow my anger and endure his baseless accusations. Exhausted, I asked the doctor, "Can the surgery be done today?" I had long lost all hope for this child. A seed carrying Landon's bloodline feels dirty to me. The doctor paused in surprise. "For such a procedure, the husband's presence is required. No need to accompany me. I'm already divorced." The doctor didn't say anything more, but his eyes couldn't hide the sympathy and pity. Indeed, a woman abandoned by her husband just 3 months into pregnancy is truly deserving of sympathy. The phone kept buzzing incessantly. Landon was still sending me messages one after another. "Iris Montgomery, don't push your luck. June has already apologized to you. What more do you want? How many men can truly control themselves after marriage? I only made one mistake. Is it really necessary for you to put on such a big show?" A show? Who would I be performing for? I'm just a clown myself. I felt a lump in my throat, but this bitterness and these tears could only be swallowed in silence. "I'm not acting, Mr. Hayes. This time I really want a divorce. I've had enough of this 7-year marital performance." Even though I'd made my position this clear, Landon still wouldn't let me go. He continued mocking me in that condescending tone of his. "Iris, don't think I don't know what you're scheming. You just want to use the child as leverage to make me settle down, don't you? Fine, I admit you've succeeded this time. You're already pregnant at your age. Know when to stop." I wanted to explain further, but the words that came out were just, "As you wish." A soft, delicate female voice came through the phone. "Landon brother, why haven't you come over yet? Come quickly and see our baby." The moment those words were spoken, my mind was left buzzing with shock. Landon panicked and hung up the phone, only sending me a couple of dismissive texts. That was just someone else's pregnant wife calling the wrong person. "Don't overthink it," I sneered. How could I possibly mistake that voice? The one that had haunted my ears for years. June. I became pregnant with Landon's child. Lying on the cold operating table, I helplessly shed 2 streams of tears. I silently prayed in my heart, "My child, if there is a next life, Mommy will never let you be born into such a terrible family." The tiny embryo was quickly removed. With great difficulty, I opened my eyes, but could only see a blurry shadow. Tiny, not yet fully formed. Actually, a malpositioned fetus isn't necessarily beyond saving. It's just that, rather than having a terrible father like Landon, it might be better for him not to come into this world at all. Seeing that I had no one to look after me, the nurse couldn't help but look at me with a bit more sympathy in her eyes. She briefly explained a few post-operative precautions to me and then asked if I needed help calling my family. But where would I have family? My parents died in a car accident before I got married, and my husband, probably accompanying another woman for her prenatal checkup. The rain began to pour outside the window. I had no choice but to struggle to get up and order a bowl of porridge. The door of the hospital room opened. But it wasn't the delivery person who entered, it was Landon. His hair was completely soaked. Looking thoroughly drenched, I looked at him in surprise, just about to speak, but I was Landon interrupted by his furious outburst. "Who gave you permission to abort my child? Who on earth allowed you to do this? Watching his hysterical tantrum, my expression remained calm, but inside I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. You said I was acting, didn't you? Now that the child is gone, can you finally divorce me? I explained calmly, but Landon grabbed my neck in agitation. I was choked and couldn't breathe. Landon showed no sign of letting go. Iris, I used to think you were just narrow-minded, but now I realize you're a venomous woman with a heart as cruel as a snake. You aborted our child with your own hands just to divorce me. Is this the kind of absurd thing a human being would do? His words cut me deeply. Why does he get to sleep with another woman on our wedding anniversary, while I don't even have the right to control my own body? I glared at him fiercely. From the time I got pregnant until now, you've never once accompanied me to a prenatal checkup. What kind of irresponsible father are you to think you have the right to decide our child's life or death? Landon, you're nothing but scum. His grip around my neck tightened even more. I resignedly closed my eyes, as the heir of the prestigious Hayes Group, killing someone, even his own wife, would be effortless for him. Just as I thought Landon was about to strangle me to death on the hospital bed, he released his grip. Since you insist on being this ruthless, I'll grant your wish. Landon pulled out the already signed divorce agreement from his pocket and slapped it onto my face. I watched the fresh blood gushing out from the reopened wound on my lower body, feeling as if my heart was being torn apart with pain. I couldn't take it anymore and roared at him. How dare you say these things to me? Landon, when you were rolling in the sheets with June, when you were accompanying her to prenatal checkups, did you ever think about me and our child? At the mention of this topic, Landon's expression finally showed a hint of change, but he showed no trace of guilt, only the fury of having his ugly deeds exposed. It's not what you think. Can you stop being so filthy-minded and seeing dirt everywhere? Then who were you accompanying for a prenatal checkup yesterday? June sent me the video. How do you explain that? How dare you keep lashing out at me over and over? Aren't I being driven to this by you? Iris, enough. That was just an accident. I couldn't help but laugh until tears streamed down my face. So all your indifference and cruelty towards me were just accidents too. Our argument was so loud that it attracted many nurses, doctors, and curious patients. My attending physician dispersed the onlookers and looked somewhat displeased at Landon. Family member of the patient needs rest. Please don't cause any disturbance here. The doctor helped me up, and upon seeing the obvious strangulation marks on my neck, his expression changed. He quickly pulled back my blanket. Beneath it was already a pool of bright red. Landon also changed his expression, hastily stepping forward. How could there be so much blood? What kind of treatment is this hospital providing? The doctor wouldn't go easy on him and scolded without mercy. Sir, don't you know that patients who just had surgery need rest? You deliberately provoke the patient, and now the freshly stitched wound has reopened, with a high risk of infection. Can you take responsibility for this? Turning around, he instructed the nurse beside him. Quickly prepare the disinfectant and rebandage Miss Montgomery. Landon fell silent, opening his mouth but not uttering a word, and could only stand quietly to the side. Clutching the divorce papers in my hand, I weakly said to him, since we've already signed, let's find a time to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get the divorce certificate. I don't need his pity here. This hypocritical act of his makes me sick. Iris, can you stop talking about divorce all the time? Seeing that he was about to start another argument with me, the doctor quickly scolded him. If you're not here to care about the patient's health, then please leave. Landon quickly fell silent. I sneered, and now you're pretending to be virtuous here. Landon was about to retort when his phone rang. He looked extremely conflicted, unsure whether to answer it or not. I kept staring at him like this. Landon finally managed to speak with difficulty. Iris, June probably has some urgent company matter to discuss with me, in a hurry to roll in the sheets. I teased him with a half smile. Landon looked embarrassed. While the doctor nearby gave him a disapproving glare, he gritted his teeth and hung up the phone, just as I expected. June's messages came pouring in one after another. Landon lowered his head in silence, his face growing paler by the second. Finally, he looked at me helplessly. Iris, June isn't feeling well. I need to go check on her. I almost burst out laughing right then. Is she giving birth? Are you really that eager? Landon, Iris, this is a matter of life and death. Can you stop being so petty? A matter of life and death? Didn't you just say she was feeling unwell? What? Is she going to die without you? Since you're so concerned about her, are you planning to marry her right after divorcing me? Iris, I'm warning you, my patience has its limits. The pain had long since numbed me completely. Now, facing Landon, all I felt was disappointment and absurdity. Landon, I'm giving you one last chance. If you step out that door today, from now on we'll be strangers till death. Landon didn't look back, not even a single glance, seems in his heart. I truly don't measure up to June's slightest strand of hair. Along with my child, the doctor looked at my dazed expression, opened his mouth as if to comfort me. But in the end, not a single word came out. The young nurse at the door was still whispering. I always thought this kind of drama about abandoning wives and children only happened in novels, but reality turns out to be even more dramatic. Yeah, this man is risking his life for his mistress. He's practically desperate to divorce his wife. Sigh, this poor girl is so pitiful. She's so beautiful but ended up with such a scumbag. How pitiful. I think so too. Perhaps Landon and I never truly loved each other. It was just at that blind date banquet where we chose each other for the sake of our respective family responsibilities, naturally, and with great understanding. I always thought I could live a stable and peaceful life. But I was wrong. Marriage is the grave of love, and my loveless marriage is nothing but ruins. I never cared Landon had some white moonlight in his past, but what bothers me is the appearance of someone as gloomy as his white moonlight. June, when that little secretary appeared by his side, I always felt an inexplicable sense of crisis, and my guess was exactly confirmed. Landon is very special to June. From the first day this girl entered Hayes Group, she became Landon's treasure. Interviews, written tests, she aced them all and passed directly. But in that list of candidates, there were clearly many people far more outstanding than her. Later I learned that all of this was entirely Landon's doing. I didn't take it to heart at the time, because I never loved him that much to begin with. Since he insists on keeping mementos to remember her by, there's nothing I can do about it. The problem is June, this woman simply doesn't know her boundaries. She kept appearing before me frequently, constantly sending me suggestive items, Landon's tie, coat, watch. Until our wedding anniversary, when she sent me a video of the two of them. I'm almost at my breaking point. Even if I don't love Landon, I still need at least a loyal partner. But Landon can no longer give me a sense of security. I blocked all of Landon's contact information, then immediately made a call to contact my personal lawyer. I asked him, what are the best and fastest ways to get a divorce now? Chen Zimo paused. If the other party insists on dragging it out, and you have concrete evidence of their infidelity during the marriage, we can file for divorce litigation. But the process might not be quick. My eyes gazed blankly at the ceiling. I remembered when we got married, Landon said to me with a smile, once you marry me, you're my woman. Don't even think about leaving in the future. It's all fake. Fine. Then I'll file for divorce. Under the condition of divorce proceedings, you only need to live apart from him for 1 year. The court will then grant a mandatory divorce. That's good like this. Still wearing the diamond ring he gave me when we got married. So blinding. Time to throw it away. Are you planning to go abroad? Chen Zimo sat down by my hospital bed, his face filled with concern. Your health has deteriorated to this point. Can't you think about your own well-being first? Landon was right about one thing. You've grown up, yet you always act on your own whims. I watched as he furrowed his brows. Despite being younger than me, he looked like a little old man. So you're saying I'm too old for you? How dare I think that? Before your parents passed away, they asked me to take good care of Hayes. I feel guilty for not fulfilling my responsibility properly. Mentioning Mom and Dad suddenly transported me back to that night 7 years ago. I received a call at school. Iris, come home quickly, your parents, they're not going to make it. I ran with all my might, using every ounce of strength I had in this life, yet I still failed to see my parents one last time. All I saw were 2 cold, broken bodies. The other directors of the company told me it was all just an accident, but I knew the truth was far more complicated than it appeared. Although I've never worked in our family company, my parents often tell me about its operational system. Because I've loved art since childhood and disliked finance, my parents cultivated another successor instead. They once thought if I could marry a son-in-law who studied finance, they could confidently hand the company over to me, but I refused. Because I cannot guarantee that my future partner will be absolutely loyal to me and my company, but I know I must have a superficial support, or rather, a man strong enough to help me hold up the entire company. After Chen Zimo took over the company, many in the company were not convinced by him. To help him gain a firm footing in the company, I married Landon. And then, what happened next, I can't remember anything clearly now. At that time, I thought that a prestigious family like Landon would have their own cherished unattainable love, which would neither entangle me in emotional matters nor turn a blind eye to our family's affairs. He was an excellent facade, yet now, I've let my life come to this. I snapped back to reality and saw Chen Zimo frowning at the leftover porridge I had eaten yesterday. These takeout foods are bad for your health. Don't eat them next time. When will you learn to come to me when you're in trouble? I forced a bitter smile, because I knew all too well that once those old foxes at the company found out about my relationship with Chen Zimo, they would definitely try every means to frame him. I don't have the ability to protect myself yet. And his dragging such a big company alone, I can't bring him trouble. Chen Zimo brought me the nutritious porridge made by his aunt. He gently blew on it, then fed it to my lips. Iris, don't worry, I'll soon avenge your parents. I panicked in an instant. Did you find out who did it? Since you want a divorce, I must become stronger to provide you with a stable support. This matter can serve as a good excuse for me. Since you're filing for divorce, we might as well go along with it. I believe those old folks won't be able to hold back for much longer. My expression darkened. Okay, I believe you. Chen Zimo dispatched the best PR team, along with a medical team specifically assigned to take care of me, by making such a grand and conspicuous display. He simply wanted everyone to know Hayes family's young master and his wife of 7 years were facing an unprecedented marital crisis. Now on the verge of a courtroom confrontation, I endured 7 years of hardship. And now it's time for the final act. I'm certainly not some naive young lady with pure intentions. Approaching Landon was, of course, part of my plan. After all these years of investigation, I've pretty much confirmed it. Landon's beloved Song Wanyue and the Song Corporation are undeniably connected to my parents' deaths. After my parents passed away, Song Wanyue immediately went abroad, even at the cost of breaking her engagement with Landon. At that time, I approached him. Pretending to be a delicate white flower from a fallen family, that aloof temperament instantly captivated the abandoned Landon. Probably because misery loves company, I barely had to lift a finger before marrying Landon. During the early days of our marriage, he truly showered me with care and a sense of security. But soon enough, the true nature of a wealthy young heir like him began to show. June was certainly not his first substitute. There are countless such substitutes. After receiving Hayes family's financial assistance, I had Chen Zimo aggressively build his own power. After passing through my hands, we now have the capability to completely take over the entire Montgomery clan. Divorcing Landon would secure me a substantial divorce settlement. Of course I'm not a fool. I've meticulously preserved all the evidence of his infidelity over the years. If this goes to court, he'll be the one facing public scorn, ridicule, and condemnation. As for his outrageous statements, how many men can truly restrain themselves after marriage? I recorded the entire conversation as well. When the time comes, let everyone witness Hayes Group's biggest scandal. First, I posted a lengthy essay on Weibo. Attached were some June's deliberately sent photos and chat records. I'm almost at my breaking point in this marriage. This Weibo post quickly climbed to the top of the trending list under Chen Zimo's manipulation. Numerous netizens left comments below. Oh my god, Iris is after all Montgomery family's young lady, beautiful and talented. Who would have thought her married life would turn out like this? Yeah, back when they got married, I thought they were a perfect match. Both equally talented and attractive. Who would have thought the life of a wealthy heiress after marriage would be such a mess? Exactly. I don't believe in love anymore. Hey, don't talk nonsense. These high society marriages are always mutual agreements for their own interests. They probably just hit a rough patch in negotiations, so now they're tearing into each other. Agreed, but I think the Montgomery heiress has it especially rough. Before the wedding, she lost both her parents. Just when she thought she'd found someone to rely on, her husband started fooling around. And now the other woman is flaunting videos right in her face. Can you blame her for fighting back? Absolutely. Girls help girls. Anyway, in this situation, I'm standing with Iris. All those scumbags can just drop dead. Seriously. +1. +1. The online sentiment is favorable towards me. As I watch the continuously declining stock of Hayes Group on the computer screen, a satisfied smile appeared on my face. Landon. This is the consequence of your false testimony for the Song family back then. Song Wanyue has gone abroad, making it impossible to track her whereabouts, so she could only marry the person she was most familiar with before going abroad. Then secretly expand the Montgomery family's influence overseas. Along with the shares I hold, Chen Zimo and I together hold 51% of the shares. We now have complete control over the entire Montgomery Group, but we still need a reason that can completely secure the board under our control. Amid this wave of trending searches about the Hayes Group's young master's affair, this was quickly followed by a second trending topic: the truth behind the deaths of the Montgomery couple years ago. Landon is suspected of killing Iris's biological parents. As soon as this trending topic emerged, Hayes Corporation's stock price immediately hit the limit down. During this most critical moment for Hayes Group, Landon has yet to step forward and make any response. I've had people keeping an eye on him all along. But Landon hasn't done anything these days except constantly trying to contact me. Even more unusually, he fired June, that little secretary. When he couldn't reach me, he had no choice but to contact Chen Zimo. Zimo answered the phone beside me. Mr. Hayes, long time no see, how have you been? But Landon, having been pampered for so many years, was accustomed to looking down on others from a superior position. He completely failed to realize that his family's company was already in grave crisis. Did you scheme behind the scenes to make Iris insist on divorcing me all this time? I'm giving you one chance now. Have Iris come see me herself. I can let bygones be bygones and continue cooperating with your Montgomery Group. Chen Zimo couldn't help but laugh out loud. Young Master Hayes, it seems you've got it wrong. You should be the one begging me. With this attitude of yours, are you trying to bankrupt the Hayes Group? The Hayes Group has always been managed by Hayes Sr. and Landon's father. Over the years, he's only held a sinecure in the company. Completely unaware of how the internal and external operations work, the Hayes family deliberately kept him idle. He's their only heir, after all. And they couldn't bear to overwork him. But this excessive indulgence ultimately ruined him. Chen Zimo handed the phone to me. Why don't you talk to your ex-husband? I took the phone. Landon was still rambling on the other end. Iris is already a mother who lost her child. With someone like him, who else would want him besides me? If you care about your sister, you shouldn't oppose me. I raised an eyebrow and asked him somewhat casually, oh really? The tone on the other end of the phone instantly panicked. Iris, why are you the one answering the phone? I fiddled with the pen in my hand, remaining silent without continuing to speak. It's not what you think, this time. I truly regret it. I just threatened Chen Zimo like that because I wanted him to let you answer the phone. I want to take you home. Okay. I was somewhat taken aback. What makes you think I'd go home with you? Are you some kind of hot commodity now? Hayes, young master, your family's company is about to hit rock bottom. With such a huge crisis, why should I wade into this mess with you? Landon was left speechless, but he still tried to cover it up. That's just temporary. Our Hayes family is a century-old conglomerate. How could we possibly go bankrupt so easily? If you just come home with me, I can still make you a carefree, wealthy lady. Carefree and wealthy. In that case, what about your Song Wanyue? I know Landon has Song Wanyue's contact information. They've been secretly keeping in touch. I once accidentally saw it on his phone. But Landon is extremely guarded against me. If it weren't for June reaching out on her own initiative. I didn't even know he had hired a young and beautiful secretary in the company as a substitute for his unattainable white moonlight. But I wonder, what would happen if Song Wanyue found out about this? Counting the time. This woman who's been hiding for several years should be coming back soon. All these years, Chen Zimo has been Montgomery suppressing the overseas shares of Song Group. In short, Song Wanyue had run out of money while she was out. After all, before our wedding anniversary, Chen Zimo discovered that Landon had secretly transferred 200,000 yuan to Song Wanyue. Song Wanyue naturally had no idea it was our people targeting her. She simply assumed her family's business was mismanaged, leading to its decline. However, a wealthy young lady like Song Wanyue naturally had countless admirers ready to clean up the mess for her. I've sent someone to investigate June's current situation, although he no longer holds the position of secretary at the Hayes Group. He's currently being supported by Landon. It's just that Landon doesn't visit him much anymore. In that case, I'm certainly going to give things a push. June should be well aware that Landon is only fond of his face, which bears an 80 to 90% resemblance to Song Wanyue's. In bed, June is also very skilled at pleasing men. Deprived of favor, June naturally couldn't accept her current situation. I merely sent someone to subtly remind her. And she instinctively seized the news of the superstar Song Wanyue's return to the country. June did not disappoint me. The airport where Song Wanyue returned was packed inside and out, yet she still found an opportunity to appear by Landon's side. His white moonlight has returned to the country. There's no way he wouldn't go. Landon explained to me over the phone that he and Song Wanyue are just old classmates, and it's normal for classmates who haven't seen each other in years to meet up. Then I'll give his old classmate a little surprise. As I expected, June still holds some leverage over Landon Hayes. Because she was pregnant, this child was the Hayes family's only heir. Pregnant June was squeezed in the crowd to the point of being unable to speak, and the next second, she fainted. Landon had no time to catch up with Song Wanyue and hurriedly stepped forward to pick up June, then prepared to take her to the hospital. Next, Song Wanyue's expression was bound to be quite a sight. On Weibo, this matter quickly gained traction. Hayes Group's heir spotted with new flame at airport. I scrolled through Weibo and couldn't help but sigh. The headline writing skills of your subordinates are really quite terrible. Chen Zimo smiled somewhat helplessly. Anyway, it's trending now. And such a nonsensical title is more eye-catching. Next, you just need to watch the love triangle and power struggles among the three of them. I stood on the top floor of the boardroom. Looking down through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the streets were bustling with traffic and crowds. This bustling city is about to experience a major upheaval soon. Song Wanyue acted swiftly. She quickly grasped the latest intelligence and realized this woman was his substitute. I imagine a woman like Song Wanyue would always have the upper hand. After all, the bond between him and Landon, forged over more than a decade of childhood friendship, isn't so easily broken. Add to that the subsequent 7 years, Landon and I have been married. Now his heart is divided into several pieces. In the evening, Landon called me again. Iris, I've already explained everything to Wanyue. We're really just friends. When can you come home? I'm quite satisfied with his current state because, like this, all I need to do is pour cold water on him. Landon, it's impossible for us now. Do you know why? There was an eerie silence on the other end of the line for a moment. Landon asked me in a somewhat trembling voice, why, 7 years ago, you were the one who fabricated evidence for Song Wanyue, weren't you? Something dropped on the other end of the call. I guess Landon must be very flustered right now. That trending topic was orchestrated by you and Chen Zimo. You've been investigating me. Young Master Hayes, I think you've misunderstood something. After all, back then, to ensure Song Wanyue's safe escape, perhaps out of guilt, that's why you married me. Seeing me bluntly expose the truth, Landon was finally afraid. So you knew everything all along. Iris, then why did you marry me in the first place? Didn't we agree to use each other from the beginning? Have you forgotten all that? My voice carried a tone of casual mockery. Besides, do you really think I'm some kind of devoted person? Ever since I found out my parents' death wasn't just a simple car accident, I haven't been the same innocent-minded Iris anymore. Just because Song Wanyue lost a resource she had secured, she orchestrated such a childish and amateurish car accident that killed both my parents. What did he tell you? That he accidentally hit someone, begging you to save her? I continued to twist the knife in Landon's heart. But perhaps it never even crossed your mind that your so-called white moonlight didn't actually hit anyone. It was someone she arranged who messed up, and after causing the accident, they tried to blackmail her. So Song Wanyua asked you to have him killed. That man's name was Cao Jigang, am I right? You thought your young mistress had successfully escaped danger, but in reality, you've been driven to the brink of ruin, if that weren't the case. Why wouldn't Song Wanyua be living it up abroad instead of coming back to the country? It's nothing more than coveting the money of a fool like you. Landon, wake up. Some netizens were right about one thing. People like us, how could there ever be love in our lives? It's all just exchanges of interest. Landon hung up the phone. I believe he will definitely investigate it himself. I know he's a suspicious person. It's raining outside again. I still remember the day Mom and Dad passed away. It was pouring just like this outside the window that day. Song Wanyua specifically chose this day, Qingming Festival. She arrogantly believed that by killing my parents, she could clear all obstacles in his path in the film and television industry. But in reality, he caused such a huge mess. The Song couple had no choice but to send him abroad to avoid the backlash. However, one must always pay for their deeds. I will make Song Wanyua pay the price she deserves, as I expected. Landon quickly made his own choice. Because June was in trouble, Song Wanyua used the same method to arrange a car accident, wanted to make June disappear along with her child. But unfortunately, Landon immediately sent people to protect June after learning the truth, and completely severed ties with Song Wanyua. Song Wanyua must be going crazy with jealousy now. She has always been an irrational woman. Chen Zimo and I were just waiting for him to have this outburst, as expected. Song Wanyua did not disappoint me. June's child was ultimately lost. Song Wanyua bribed June's doctor. Although she didn't take June's life as well, June will never be able to have children again. Now, for the Hayes family, June has completely lost her usefulness. Only Landon could become June's reliance. But this is exactly the moment I've been waiting for. I want to send every single one of them to hell, as early as 3 years ago. Chen Zimo had already approached the police to request reopening the investigation into the Montgomery couple's fatal car accident case from back then. 3 years ago was when we were cracking down on the Song family the hardest. The Song group had no way to haze at that time. As they were busy dealing with the chaotic business in Europe, they never imagined that some people had quietly gotten hold of their weaknesses. The Song couple had no time to haze. And their business was in complete disarray. They had no choice but to send their daughter back to the country, hoping to secure a glimmer of respite for the Song family through a marriage alliance. At this moment, news arrived that Landon was about to divorce. The financially powerful Hayes Group was undoubtedly the best first choice. But now, Landon could no longer marry Song Wanyua. The reason I chose to file for divorce is precisely this. At the very least, I need to be separated from Landon for a year before we can officially divorce. And during this period, the Song family simply can't wait. Right now, Song Wanyua has caused the death of Hayes Group's only heir. Hayes family is even less likely to form a marriage alliance with the Song Group. Now is the most vulnerable time for the Song Group, and the Hayes Group is unlikely to abandon the currently thriving Montgomery family to choose someone as useless as Song Wanyua for a wife. My chances of winning are already very high. Hayes Group's stock price is still falling. On this arthritis matter, the Hayes Group must be desperately hoping for Landon and me to reconcile. Only with Chen Zimo's assistance can the Hayes family catch a breather. But unfortunately, they won't get that chance. Because Landon will fight tooth and nail to protect June. As if to compensate for his years of deep affection, June lost her mind completely after losing her child. He drove around the streets recklessly. Landon threw himself in to prevent him from hitting others. And just like that, he became disabled. Hayes's parents finally found me. They earnestly asked me over the phone if I could reconsider divorcing Landon. Though even they must have known it was a ridiculous request. After all, Landon's affair has already become the talk of the town. Now Landon is nothing but a scumbag despised by everyone. What right do I have to choose to forgive him at this critical moment? So, dear uncle and aunt, since you failed to educate your own child properly, allowing him to help the wrong person, you'll just have to bear the consequences. I don't believe Landon's parents were unaware of Landon's actions. They were strongly opposed to Landon marrying me from the beginning, because they knew that without my parents, I was just an empty shell in the Montgomery group. Utterly incapable of providing any assistance to the Hayes group, but there was no choice. Landon was the young master of the Hayes family, the sole heir to the Hayes group. On top of that, he had no interest in managing the family business, and I posed no threat to them. So they never took me seriously and never showed me any respect. Yet, ironically, this gave me the perfect environment to survive. Now is the time for me to strike back by crushing these people beneath my feet. We Montgomery Group's shares are about to undergo a major official change. Chen Zimo and I will become the company's largest shareholders. What happened 7 years ago was certainly not as simple as just being done by Song Wanyue alone. How many shareholders were secretly involved in facilitating this car accident, and who truly knows, whether it's Zhao, Chen, Sun, Li, Zhu, Wu, Zhang, or Wang, we must completely overhaul and purge them all. On the day Montgomery assumed office as the new president of the group, we held a press conference. At the press conference, we invited the police. The truth about my parents' death 7 years ago was officially revealed. Landon and others, including Song Wanyue, were all arrested. I want nothing. All I hope for is Song Wanyue's death penalty. He hired a killer to commit murder, taking 2 lives. And this woman must face the harshest, most severe punishment. Even if the Song family spent all their wealth, they wouldn't be able to see me, nor would they be able to see Song Wanyue. The Song Group's company was already brought down by me and Chen Zimo. Now, even after exhausting every last ounce of strength, he couldn't save his beloved daughter. He could only watch helplessly as she was led to the execution ground. Such is the heartless nature of wealthy families. In the end, the Song Corporation abandoned Song Wanyue. Because the lives of thousands of employees still had to go on, they cannot abandon their careers just because of this one wayward daughter. But the Hayes family is different. The Hayes group has only this one heir, and this man is still my husband in name. Hayes's family elder kneels at my doorstep every day, begging me to spare Landon. Do they think playing the age card will make me compromise? Not a chance. The murder of my parents is an unforgivable enmity. Even if Landon was an accomplice, I'd still make sure he serves a solid 10 to 8 years in prison. Perjury is a serious crime. All the police officers involved in handling that case back then were also recalled and dismissed for investigation. I will personally take revenge on everyone involved in my parents' case. Chen Zimo could see that I was already blinded by rage, but he never stopped me, letting me do as I pleased. He's had a hard time these years, repaying my parents' kindness and doing a lot for the Montgomery Group. Now he has handed over a complete company to me, staying by my side just like when I was a child. As for June, this woman who only knows how to rely on men to wield her pen, without the support of wealth and power, she would only rot to death in some unknown alley. I can't even be bothered to ask whether she's alive or dead. Everyone says I endured humiliation to achieve a great comeback. Some also say I'm cunning and ruthless, willing to marry my enemy just for revenge. But only Chen Zimo knows how much effort this young woman in her 20s has put in just to survive. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.